Hey Tamers, and welcome to Starter Deck Release 15 and 16 if I'm not mistaken. And I took none other than my boy to the pre-release tournament. Here we go. We did get a winner card. Well, I wanted to share the deck that I used, just using the Starter Deck 15 for the pre-release tournament, which is very good. Let's get into it. For the level 4s, you already know you only have the Coromon from Starter Deck 15. So we got that really cute Coromon right there. All turns once per turn, when an attack target is switched, this Digimon gets 1000 DP until the end of the turn. This is awesome because it'll work for raid and it'll work for blockers. So really nuts. Mind you, this works when your opponent blocks as well. You will get that inherit since it's all turns and your attack is getting, when an attack gets switched, it gets the inherit. So even if your opponent activates raid, it triggers. Rookies, we're running quite a handful again because we're limited to the cards that we get in the deck, of course. 4 of the Agumon. He is so cute. I love this card. Start of your main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory. All turns once per turn, when an attack target is switched, gain 1 memory. This can be so good for raid. Took 4 Solarmons. On play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a black card, add it to your hand. Trash the rest. All the cards here are black, and what's awesome about this is it says a black card, not a black Digimon. So if you reveal a tie, you'll be able to get them. 4 of the clear Agumons. I love that we're finally having more reprints for a reboot. Well, not really a reprint, but more cards will reboot as an inherit. Black really needs that. We just had the first Toy Agumon for like quite some time. Reboot, that's pretty much it. You want to be able to attack and then get reboot, so then you're able to block and get some of the inherits. Last but not least, 2 of the Toy Agumons that are blockers. Your turn, when this Digimon attacks a player, lose 2 memory. I thought this was pretty cool because you can attack your opponent's Digimon and you will not lose any memory. This card here won me so many games just because of the fact that with tie, we'll get into it. Tie gives you DP when you redirect an attack. So this is already 4,000. A tie gives you 2,000. You have a 6k blocker right here. Really nuts as a rookie. So we did run 14. If I were to change it, I would probably add another Toy Agumon, and we'll talk about which one I would replace it for. Moving on to the champions. Wargreymon. These cards are really sick. So obviously Garurumon has the same thing. But this Greymon security effect, you may play 1 Agumon or Tamer card with tie in its name from your hand or trash without paying for its cost. That really helped me because they got hit in the security and I was able to play an Agumon. And then when you play that Agumon from the starter deck, right, because it's getting played in your opponent's turn, play that from the security effect, get the Agumon, and now if they have a Digimon, which they do if they attack, now you're going to get an extra memory just for being able to play that Agumon. Really good. And it's also a blocker. Really good. All turns, once per turn. Same thing as the Agumon. When an attack target is switched, you gain 1 memory. So they have the same thing. A little bit of a high cost being a 6 cost, but still good. 4 Tankmon. So one of the gimmicks, not gimmicks, but one of the little strategies here is you would have the clear Agumon under the Tankmon, right? And since the Tankmon has jamming, you just keep swinging and then unsuspend and keep swinging. So that's how you can chip away pretty quick with that. And they have to answer this. And what sucks is that they would have to use a Baldy Blow to get rid of it, because aside from that, or Metal Garurumon Ace, aside from that, they're unable to get over the Tankmon. Last but not least, 3 Mechanorimon. My reason for this was 4 cost champion. So if I don't draw a rookie and I'm at 3, at least I could put him at 1. And since there's only 4 Tamers, there's no way of getting memory aside from trashing cards. And of course, the inherit reboot, so giving more opportunity for my big boss monsters to have reboot. Now, what I would switch when I was talking about earlier is I would probably take 1 Mechanori to just put maybe another Toy Agumon, but I didn't have a problem with these ratios. I didn't necessarily brick at all, especially because you're able to mulligan. But if this is too much of a high count for you, I would put another clear, the blocker Toy Agumon, because he was just beautiful. He's probably one of my MVP cards of the tournament. We got, of course, my boy, Wargreymon. So cool. I did pull out some pre-release cards of these, so I'm so happy. So there's a blocker, and then you get a blanket security attack +1. That's really nuts. I can't wait to like play around with this. Because now if you do the other security attack +1 Greymon, you get to Digivolve on here, and now you got security attack +2. So obviously you want to use this Metal Greymon, especially if you give it the reboot, right? You'll be able to swing, and then you have blocker when you hit the reboot. But of course, you want to be aggro, especially going against the Metal Garurumon, which is why the security attack +1 was really, really nice. Because now with your Wargreymon, you'll Digivolve, you swing, and now if you hit security cards, you unsuspend and you swing again, you're checking 4 cards in that one turn. Up next, 2 Andromons. When Digivolving, they Digivolve 1. Do you know how insane that is? Especially if they have a blast on the field. You just Digivolve, and now you did Digivolve. And then you get 4 memory because overflow, right? But if you're at 3, you Digivolve for 3, use overflow, and now you go to 4. And now you can Digivolve. So really good. I would say be mindful of when you do it, because if you did Digivolve and let's say, you know, you don't get the overflow memory from it, and that then they have an ultimate, and then you try to swing, now they can blast, and they could, you know, essentially, like if they have the Wargreymon, they'll block, or if it's a Metal Garurumon, they'll gain memory, and then they'll be able to pop it. So you kind of got to be careful when you're doing the Digivolving, and then the reboot, of course, more chances for my monsters, big monsters, to have reboot. Last but not least, I was not running this in the beginning when I was playtesting, but let me tell you how good Nightmon is. Nightmon is nuts. On play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the play cost of 5 or less. At first, I was like, I mean, do I really want to drop a 6 cost to delete pop a level 5? Yes, let me tell you why. So that's exactly how I won one match. I was at 3. I ended up popping a Digimon, was level 5. So now they only had a rookie. So they had to build up again to the ultimate just to be able to blast. And then they attacked, and I had no security. So now, when they do attack, you just go ahead and you just blast. And now you can block. So not only is he good for removal, he's a cheap cost to play as an ultimate to kind of set yourself up to being able to blast. So 2 of the Nightmons. I really did like this play. I probably wouldn't change anything. That's it for the ultimates. For the Megas, of course, my boy, Wargrey, Ace. We are playing 4 of them. The whole thing with these decks is you're able to blast evil, right? It's introducing this new mechanic. So when you have a level 5, like I said, with the Nightmon, and your opponent attacks, after the one attacking, so this is very important, don't forget this. So if your opponent attacks, if they have 1 attacking effects, those trigger first, and then you're able to block, right? Or blast evolve, and then block. So be mindful of that, because there was a match where someone was trying to blast, but then a Metal Garurumon Ace was going to kill it, and it did kill it because his 1 attacking goes first. So then, therefore, he was not able to blast, and that was GG's. So, Wargreymon, blocker, and then all turns, once per turn, when a card is removed from the security stack, you may unsuspend this Digimon. Which was good, because then sometimes I was mindful of when I chose to block. If, for example, I only had 1 security, and they have 3 bodies, I would choose to blast first, instead of having the security get removed, because that's what's going to make them unsuspend. So now if they have 3 bodies, you know, we'll blast, and then we'll block. They swing with the second person, and now that gets, you know, that gets checked. His effect triggers, since it's all turns once per turn. Now we unsuspend, and now we can block that 3rd body. But if you don't do it that way, where if you just, you know, let him swing first, bam, and now you Digivolve, you blast evolve when he swings, and you block, then you have no way of unsuspending him. Another thing to be really mindful on that. And then for the remaining Megas, 3 of the HiAndromon. Let me tell you how good this card is. It was really scary swinging with this Wargreymon because he's 11k. And it did die. And yeah, it's not good. One match I won because I had the HiAndro in the security, and he was swinging with a Wargrey, and then swung, overflow, and then it passed to my turn, and I was able to win because of that. HiAndromon is a blocker, 12,000 DP. When digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 8 or less. Why is this so damn good? Because you can delete Metal Garurumon Ace when you digivolve. Mind you, these are 6 costs. So vice versa, it could also delete a Wargreymon if you're going against a Wargreymon deck. Because now when you just digivolve, then you can pop it, and it's going to be a free cost for Evo since you're getting Overflow 4 back. So good. Then the blocker, of course, is just good because now if they're going to swing with an ace, they need to be able to increase the DP, which this deck can do that. But Metal Garurumon Ace has no way to kind of get a DP increase. The whole setup with that HiAndromon, let's say they had a HiAndromon on the field or a Skull Mammothmon, and you had your Greymon, right? You're at 3. You can digivolve for 3 into the Andromon to the digivolve 1, and then you revert it back to an ultimate, and now you'll just go into HiAndro, and that's how you get rid of the whole stack. And now he has reboot, and then when he blocks, you'll gain a memory. Really good. So I had to run it at 3. I didn't want to run it at 4 because I just didn't want to break and have too many megas in my hand, which sometimes I did. Sometimes I had too many of the Wargreys in my hand, but being able to blast evolve and block is just too good to not have at 4. So that's it for the ultimates. Up next are the Tamers for ties. This tie is so nuts. I love him so much. So he's a memory set Tamer. All turns, when an attack target is switched by suspending this Tamer, you get to draw one, and one of your Digimon gets 2,000 DP until the end of the turn. So this is exactly how I was telling you that I had this blocker Toyagumon. At some point I had 2 ties on the board, and I had this Toyagumon. So now that we're swinging, and now he's getting 8,000 DP, and I'm drawing an extra 2 cards. So not only does he help with that, but he also helps you with going through your cards quick, which is what you need in this deck because you don't have searching power in either deck. Again, when you do blast and then you block, you're able to trigger the tie, and now you're bumping your war grade of 13,000 and drawing the card, and it is for the whole turn, which is really, really good because sometimes it would swing and I'm like, oh, and then it's for the whole turn, and they had another Digimon that could have went over Wargrey, but they didn't. Tool the Breakthrough of Courage. If you have a Tamer with tie, you can play it without meeting its color requirements. You don't have to worry about that. Everything is black in this deck. So unsuspend one of your Digimon, then one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn, which is very good, especially going against Metal Garurumon Ace. Because when they attack and you only have 1 stack, then it can't delete it because that's a Digimon effect. Now, Baldly Blow is another thing because it's not a Digimon, it's an option card. So yeah, so reason I only ran it at 2 is because sometimes it's good to unsuspend it, but I can't really justify the 4 cost. And knowing what I was playing against, if I had an ultimate on the board already, and I didn't want it to get deleted, besides from Baldly Blow, I would make sure I would drop a rookie. So then that way when I drop the rookie, if they go into Metal Garurumon Ace, they have to target the lowest cost. So they had to find an alternative to delete the Nightmon. And if they ended up playing Baldly Blow and leaving me at 5 if they were at 0, now I have another Digimon to go ahead and climb the ladder and do what I gotta do. So just 2 of the Breakthrough of Courage. And last but not least, MVP card of the deck is this Trident Arm. They Digivolve 3, one of your opponent's Digimon. Then until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains start of your main phase, this Digimon attacks. It's like Lapras combined with Ultimate Flare. So it's really nuts. The security effect, you Digivolve 3, and that's it. So you just did Digivolve. Which is really good. And the reason why I say this is so good is because if you use this on a Ace card, it's costing you 2 because you get Overflow 4, and then you can force them to attack at the start of their main phase. So I had a match where they had a Metal Garurumon Ace, and then they had a level 5. So what I did was to Digivolve 3 on the Metal Garurumon, right? So, and then I got 2 memory back. Well, I'm sorry, I got 4 memory, so I played it for 2. And then I forced the other Digimon to attack at the start of this main phase to force him to build up from rookie all the way back up to ultimate. So you really have to make it difficult for the Metal Garurumon player to get its blast mode up there, or, you know, if you're having a mirror match. So that's the way I did it, and this card is just so nuts. Being able to play this for 2 is what really makes it good. So that's why we're running 4 of. And not to mention if they're swinging already at security, and if it gets digivolved, right, from the security stack, and it's overflow, that ends their turn. And now if that Metal Garurumon goes away, or that Wargreymon goes away, and now you're ready to swing over because it's suspended. So there you have my Wargreymon Ace starter deck 15 deck profile. This is 2 starter decks in 1. Keep that in mind. Of course, if you go into the pre-release, you know that. But in case you didn't go, these are 2 decks. Which deck did you guys go with? My boy or my other boy? I love both of them, but Wargreymon always has a special place in my heart. Let me know what worked for you guys. And if you guys want me to do a Metal Garurumon version of it, let me know down in the comments below. I didn't use it, so that is why I sticked with this one. As always, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys on the next one.